I think the most important thing is nationhood. I think that the reason is that, you know, we just had the vote in Brexit, where Britain decided that they'd rather be British than part of a global community. And what seemed like a great idea back in the 70s, which was more large nations put together, working together, it is actually proving to be less freedom for the individual. That people find that their lives are more controlled by outsiders when they're part of, when they lose that individual status that their nation provides them, when they lose the individuality of their nation. And I think that what we're learning is that the little cultures around the world are beautiful in their own ways when they're good cultures, when they're you know, when they've worked the bugs out of their systems, especially the Protestant nations. That would include the nations of Northern Europe and all the English-speaking countries, and that it may be that humanity works best in smaller units, like Britain and the United States and New Zealand and Denmark. So I resist any kind of loss of that national identity.
But when other groupings become possible, national identity may become less important. Like when you look at internet tribes now, like science fiction geekery used to be like a real niche thing that was for lonely nerds. But now there are huge, you know, tens of millions of people embrace Star Wars culture, and superhero culture. And people around the world are unified under the types of entertainment that they consume.
I agree with you on that. I mean, it's great that we can now, that because of the internet, we can make friendships internationally. I mean, I don't even think we know the full implications of it, to be honest with you. But what I have found is that the world, even with all this communication, is still divided left and right. Well, I'll just say it. Dennis Prager says that the world will be divided into three possible futures, and that is Americanism, socialism, and Islam. And so even if you make friends with someone in Spain, you're going to find out that they're either a socialist or a rightist. So to me, the future is a struggle between those three possibilities. And that to me is far more real than anything technological.
But technological is woven in there. You have your three possibilities, which is, what do you call it, Americanist, or what do you call it?
Americanism, socialism,
all right. So,
Islam.
Islam and all religions, especially fundamentalist versions of those religions, I believe are under threat of being hollowed out by the awesomeness of future technology. That as technology takes on more of the jobs that were formerly assigned to God in various religions, that those religions will lose people's faith and people's support. And that's not necessarily a terrible thing. Some religion has positive and negative functions. violent fundamentalism or violence done in the name of adherence to some version.
Cameraman's in front of my drawing. Okay, go ahead.
Violence done in the name of adherence to some religion
Yes.
is obviously bad.
Okay.
If that can be eroded by the awesomeness of technology that convinces people that they don't need to behave as if this were the year 1100, that they need to move into the world and embrace the benefits of technology, then that's a good thing.
Well, here's the problem. You're making, in my opinion, a kind of a logical fallacy. I don't know what the philosophical term for it is, but it's really two different subjects. What an atheist would say is that religion is a result of a God as an explanation of things. And so what happens is every time technology moves forward, it makes religion less believable until finally God becomes a God of the gaps. In other words, anything you can't explain with science, you just say, well, that's God.
Okay.
But the problem with this argument is that people don't believe in religion anymore because it explains where lightning comes from. Now people believe in religion because of spiritual experiences, because of the morality that it gives them, and because it enriches their lives psychologically. So what's going to happen is people will have that technology, but they're going to use it to promote whatever it is they believe. That's why, now, when you're taught, there's really only one religion that is harmful in today's world, and that's Islam. I mean, Christianity and Judaism aren't hurting anybody that I'm aware of.
Well, I mean, you've got assholes who are Christians. You've got assholes who are Jews. There'll always be assholes.
Yeah.
Some of the worst assholes operating in the world are, they consider themselves Muslim. But there will always be assholes. And assholes tend to, you can lower water, pure water, well below freezing point without it freezing if there's nothing for the water to crystallize around. You can, lower the water probably to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and it won't freeze if the water's pure. And then if you drop in little grains of anything, ice or sand or whatever, then crystallization will spread from the points where those impurities fell into the water.
Okay.
And what the deal with assholes is, they often look for, they're kind of free-floating assholes and aren't like fully actualized as dangerous assholes until they find something to crystallize around. And often that can be a belief system. I mean, the hijackers, if you look at their biographies, they were kind of the guys. They were like nerdy, losery guys who would have a hard time getting girlfriends if they'd grown up and gone to in America and gone to like public high schools, and then they get sucked into some belief system and people who are going to help actualize their assholery once they found some version of religion that helped them with that.
I'm sorry, and I don't want to keep talking about the same subject, but the only religion that is a problem today is Islam. It's the only religion that allows you to kill people for it. There's no LDS assholes out there that are trying to murder people and make the world Mormon.
No,
there are no liberal Jews that are trying to kill you because you blasphemed or because you married out of Judaism. So,
well, there are militantly Orthodox Jews over in Israel, and you can argue about who's right and who's wrong, but the who are not.
Face it, there are no Judeo-Christians that are murdering people over religious issues today. And in fact, that hasn't happened for 400, 300 years.
Well, hold on. Let's take a look at.
Except there
are
minor conflicts in Northern Ireland that were mostly social,
all right, so,
not religious.
All right, take a look at Dylan Root, the stupid white loser kid who walked into a black church and shot, I think, 9 people to death.
That's crime. It had nothing to do with the Bible.
But he was a free-floating asshole who, I think, at some point lost a girl that he wanted to go out with to a black guy. He was a wormy little guy who suffered romantic disappointment or probably was bullied and was just kind of losery. And then he finds this white supremacist framework in which he can actualize his assholery into violence.
Yeah, and he was able to carry it out because liberals like you have made it impossible to put guys like that away in loony bins.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to get someone committed. And we keep having things like that happen all the time now. And it's because of liberals like yourself.
That's a spurious argument. Reagan is the one who emptied out the fucking loony bins.